Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we take a look at a couple of releases, 3, sort of, but 2 mainly, from the Clone Wars. Again, oddball releases that are not the season sets. Instead, these are independent releases, and in one case, a compilation of independent releases. Now you may recall, back when we were looking at Season 1, that they had released A Galaxy Divided and Clone Commandos, both of which had 4 episodes each from Season 1. But those were just the regular episodes. They were as they appeared on Cartoon Network, that aspect ratio and all that kind of stuff. Had some issues with the fact that it was that aspect ratio, but it was the non-director's cut versions as they appeared on Cartoon Network, just lumped together onto DVDs. When the time came around for some future consideration of that type of release, they did some things a little bit differently. There was a screening at one point of the Night Sisters episodes. Those, of course, are Night Sisters, Monster, and Witches of the Mist from The Clone Wars, The Complete Season 3, on either Blu-ray or DVD there. They took those and they meshed them together, just ran them together as a feature-length film without really any changes to it, and then released that to the public through a public screening, and then released it through iTunes as an exclusive. Still not available in that form on home video outside of iTunes, so we're not really giving it in-depth coverage here. But they had tried this whole idea of let's take some episodes and do basically like they did with the Clone Wars film, right? Where they had 4 episodes and they ran them together into a film and released it theatrically. Well, let's do it with Night Sisters and just do it with those 3. And then finally, as they came to the end of Season 4 of the Clone Wars, they decided to do that yet again. This time, merging together the last 4 episodes of Season 4 of the Clone Wars, only this time with some tweaks to make it flow better, but also flow differently than what we see in the season set's original episodes. Again, the episodes themselves can be found on the Complete Season 4 on Blu-ray or on DVD, but not in this format. These have the episodes in their original form. What I'm talking about is the feature-length bastardized version, I guess as I would call it, if I'm gonna be fair, given the fact that these are kind of smushed together very much like what happened with what we saw with those Droids and Ewoks releases a while back. In this case, what we get is the September of 2012, Target exclusive, then wider release starting in January of 2013, Darth Maul Returns. And only this time, it's not just the 4 episodes just run together. They're 4 episodes run together with some tweaks, meant to be an actual feature-length film way of watching this story. Now, the episodes, of course, are Massacre, Bounty, Brothers, and Revenge, the last 4 of that particular season of the show. When we get here, that's the cover there. Right, we got Asajj Ventress, we've got Savage Opress, we've got Maul with his mechanical legs. The back gives you a quick rundown of what's going on. Brothers, Savage Opress and Darth Maul reunite, seeking vengeance against the Jedi, and so forth. You look down at the bottom, widescreen version presented in a letterbox widescreen format, preserving a scope theatrical aspect ratio, enhanced for widescreen TVs. Hallelujah, that's actually no, it's still not right. It is actually enhanced for widescreen TVs. This will play like a regular DVD will, and thankfully everything in this is the same aspect ratio as the season sets. That theatrical look, not the slightly narrower, slightly taller version you get on Clone Wars through Cartoon Network or through iTunes in the original episodes. It's done like the season sets are and then meshed together. But it says letterbox. It's not letterbox, it's not matted. This actually will play correctly on a widescreen television. Thank goodness, it's about time they finally got this right. The disc inside, very similar. I mean, it's just that there, Darth Maul Returns, just with the focus on him from the cover and all. Notice the red Clone Wars logo, the way they did it with the Darth Maul episodes on the show. But this, again, it is a theatrical type of film, just not released in theaters, designed to be a way to see this all as one story. And to do that, they took some liberty with tweaking some things and shifting some things around to make this a different cut than what we see otherwise. Although I have talked to Leland Chee, and he has said that unlike what often happens where a special edition cut of something winds up superseding what came before, this version is not the one to be considered the official version when it comes to Star Wars continuity. The official version is the way it was presented as 4 separate episodes back in Season 4 of the show. So how do they mix this thing together? What's different about it? Well, since it's all one feature-length cut, there's only room for one fortune cookie. And they wind up using the one from Brothers. So you don't get the little fortune cookie from Massacre, Bounty, or Revenge. Just from Brothers. I guess they thought it was the most appropriate one to use. And of course, they can only have room for one of those "a galaxy torn by war" type of opening narrations where they show clips and talk about what's happening. But they want to set up the entire thing. What they did was they took the opening narration from Massacre and from Brothers and basically merged them together and re-recorded it. Okay? This was the opening from Massacre.
Sinister forces on the move. Asajj Ventress has suffered a humiliating betrayal at the hands of her own assassin, Savage Opress. Having gone into hiding, she now has no choice but to seek sanctuary with the Night Sisters of Dathomir.
Okay, this was the opening from Brothers.
A darkness awakes. Count Dooku's bitter betrayal of his former apprentice Asajj Ventress resulted in the creation of a new menace in the galaxy, Savage Opress. Caught in a deadly game of revenge between Ventress and Dooku, Savage barely escaped the carnage. Beaten and alone, he returned to Mother Talzin, his creator, who gave him a new quest to pursue his long-lost brother.
Now this is the merged opening used for Darth Maul Returns as a feature-length cut.
Seeds of evil. Seeking revenge against her former master, Count Dooku, Asajj Ventress enlisted the aid of the witch Mother Talzin to create a powerful monster under her control, Savage Opress. During the battle with the Count, Savage went mad, leaving no one victorious. Ventress was forced into hiding, while Count Dooku regroups with General Grievous to plot his counterattack. Meanwhile, beaten and alone, Savage returned to Mother Talzin, who gave him a new quest to find his long-lost brother.
The order of the episode starts to then be shifted a little bit here, okay? They basically go to the third episode out of the 4, which is Brothers. And there's a sequence at the beginning in which basically we see Savage questioning people and beating up people in a diner until Ahsoka and Anakin show up and they wind up sitting in a booth talking about what's going on, essentially, at this diner. They take that and chop it out of the beginning of Brothers and stick it in at the beginning of this entire feature-length cut. Kind of like they did back with Sunstar vs. Shadowstone, where we looked at the Ewoks stuff, where they basically took the first part of that and stuck it at the beginning of the Haunted Village, even though that wasn't really when it was supposed to take place. We then don't have Dooku's opening scene that we would normally have seen in Massacre, nor do we get the quick little scene of Asajj Ventress sensing Savage Opress. It then, however, cuts the following sequence that would have had Dooku and then Asajj sensing Savage. Because at this point, the way that it's set up in the feature-length cut, Asajj isn't on Dathomir yet. We haven't seen her show up there yet. Which is kind of interesting because it does mean that when Mother Talzin is on Dathomir talking about soon Maul and Savage will be reunited together and all that kind of stuff, she's now saying it not after Asajj has shown up on Dathomir, but before Asajj has shown up. She's on her own keeping tabs on things, which I thought was kind of an interesting slight tweak to the story. Then we jump back to Massacre, which is supposed to be the first of the 4 episodes in this 4-episode sequence, and we pick up basically right where it starts, right beyond the opening narration and whatnot, and head forward from that. No big deal. Continues right off from where we left their opening segment. But then it jumps back to Brothers again, skipping over Bounty for the time being, picks up where we left off in Brothers with the whole thing in the diner, and then follows Savage's trek. And it goes all the way up to Maul's line, "I must have revenge." And in the original cut of the episode, that would mean that it's time to jump over to the Jedi Temple for another scene. Here, we don't do that yet. Instead, now we jump back to the beginning of Bounty and show that entire episode. And once Bounty is over with, we jump immediately into Revenge and continue on forward to the end of Revenge. So basically what they do is they don't treat Brothers as if it is an episode in and of itself. They take chunks of Brothers and slide them into Massacre and Bounty as we head towards Revenge. It basically is a way of making it seem as though the hunt for Maul takes longer, and really the transformation for Asajj takes longer, as she goes from showing up on Dathomir as the failed apprentice to Dooku, who wound up trying to kill him with Savage and it didn't work. She kind of comes home licking her wounds. She becomes a full Night Sister. The Night Sisters get pretty much wiped out. At least that clan does. She winds up becoming a bounty hunter, transforms in a sense that she's starting to look at herself as possibly at least a little bit of a hero and certainly someone who can choose her own destiny. I like the fact that it changes the pacing in that way, so when you watch this as a movie, it feels like those transformations are more gradual than they are lickety-split like they are in the original episodes as aired. Though I can see why they did air them the way they did and then put it together here the way that they did. Pacing is very different when you're doing a week-to-week series of episodes than when you're showing everything all at once. But it makes for an interesting alternate version of these events, albeit only slightly altered, that of course isn't official continuity because that's what the original episodes wind up being. But that does also mean that there are 3 scenes that were in Brothers that never wind up showing up at all in Darth Maul Returns. They're simply cut and dropped because they couldn't find a way to necessarily reinsert them to intercut with Massacre and Bounty. Now, the 3 scenes in question. One is Dooku's opening scene.
I can sense him, Grievous. That creature, Savage Opress, is growing stronger and stronger as each day passes.
You consider him a threat?
He is a threat to all of us, even the Jedi. With the Night Sisters eradicated, there is no one left to control him. Something is rising. Something sinister.
The second is this one of Asajj sensing Savage.
Cheers.
Why so tense?
I'm not sure. I thought I sent someone from my past.
Who is this someone?
A monster.
And then finally, what I thought was a pretty cool scene of Yoda and Obi-Wan sensing Maul's return. This one's cut too.
I must have revenge.
Master Yoda?
Feel the disturbance in the Force, do you?
Yes, Master.
Fear you are in danger. I do. From the dead, an old enemy has awakened, seeking vengeance.
An old enemy?
Killed your master many moons ago. He did.
How can this be? I killed him myself.
It is so, I fear.
Darth Maul, alive?
So is it a cool alternate way to watch these episodes? Yes. Does it do something more and fix some of the problems of some of those earlier individual DVD releases as far as aspect ratio and whatnot? Yes. Yes, it does. But while it is unusual, it's not necessarily what you want to do if you want to watch these episodes. Watch them in their original form. That's the official way to do it. But I said we'd cover 2 releases this time around in home videos, with the third being sort of a not-so-much issue. Well, the not-so-much was the Night Sisters trilogy. We've still got one more home video release to look at in this episode. It's a very short one, however. That is this. Among the blitz of Star Wars releases on DVD and Blu-ray back in October of 2013, this one slipped by most people's radar. It is Star Wars The Clone Wars 3-pack. 3-disc collection, includes 12 episodes. What it is a repackage of discs we've seen before. A Galaxy Divided, Clone Commandos, and Darth Maul Returns. The back is just divided up into 3 little sections that shows the back contents basically on the back boxes of each of those 3 where it describes the contents of those particular discs. Gives you information on the bottom about the format of each one. They're just as wrong as they always were for each one. It's a little slip case out the side. Similar cover underneath. You open it up, and it's literally a repackage of the exact same discs, not even different labels. You've got A Galaxy Divided, which we know already as this release here, right? Then you've got Clone Commandos, which we knew of as this release here. And then, as we looked at earlier in this very episode, we have Darth Maul Returns. So if you are looking for those and you want to get them at a bargain price, you can just buy this set here. The downside is that you don't get the individual cases for any of them, but none of them had little paper inserts anyway. All it was a case with a disc. So if you're not really worried about the case itself, this makes a nice bargain way to buy those 3 releases. You'll wind up getting the non-director's cut version of every episode of Season 1 that got a director's cut except for Lair of Grievous, and you'll get that cool alternate feature-length version of the last 4 episodes of Season 4 of the Clone Wars, focusing on Savage Opress, Asajj Ventress, and Darth Maul. So a cool thing to pick up, although honestly, of all the different things being released at that point in time, it's no wonder that a lot of people didn't pick that one up. We had Clone Wars Season 5 on Blu-ray and DVD, Clone Wars Complete Seasons 1 through 5 on Blu-ray and DVD, those giant box sets, and we had the DVD Blu-ray combo packs of the original trilogy and the prequels coming out all at the same time, and then there was this. Yeah, big shock, this is the one that most people left behind. But it is still out there, you can still find it some places. It is not out of print as far as I know just yet, but it probably soon will be with all the changes going on with Lucasfilm, so get it while you can. It is unique in that it does have those alternate versions of some of the things that you might not see if you check them out on the season sets. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.